think it's the perfect time to give Firebenders the upgrade that they need. Okay, so I want to discuss something that I feel like everybody has thought about at this point, but maybe hasn't discussed it, because I haven't really seen people really calling this out. So I want to make a few points here and make some suggestions about what we can do to fix this. So everyone knows when it comes to the Avatar Last Airbender universe, we're all about balance, we're all about evenness. Things have to work together on like an even keel, and that goes for the 4 bending styles as well, in my opinion. They've got to be even. They've got to be on an even keel, each one of them having different benefits and drawbacks, but it's a push and a pull. It's a give and a take. Each one exceeds in some places and maybe has a couple of drawbacks in other places, but it all like balances itself out. We've learned this from Uncle Iroh. We've all learned it from Iroh. We know it's true. But I feel like that's working in theory, but not actually working with what we're seeing on the screen. I think most people can agree after watching Avatar Last Airbender, watching Korra, we've got water up here with its versatility, strength, effectiveness, all the different things you can do. You got water, then depending on the situation, you got air and earth. They're going to switch back and forth depending on the situation about which one is the most effective. And then on the bottom you have fire. Like, let's be honest, it's not really keeping up with the other ones when it comes to all these different abilities and effectiveness. So let's talk about it. So it's not like most people need a rundown of what each element can do, but I'm just going to go over it real quick just to drive the point home. So we've got water. Water, you can control it in its gaseous state. You can make steam with it. Obviously control it as a liquid. You can turn it to an ice and control it that way. So you've got huge range of diversity. Then you've got healing powers you can employ. As we saw in Korra, you can use water to control the spirits and kind of bend them to your will. And then you get even stronger during the full moon. You don't have to wait for a comet to come every 100-something years. You can get stronger each full moon. So that's a good plus. And then you've got, of course, the big one, the blood bending, which is the most OP move in the entire series, if you ask me. So you've got all that. You've got all these great OP moves with the waterbenders. And then you got the earthbenders, another set of versatile abilities. We got metal bending. You know, we're seeing some lava bending going on in Korra. And then you can also learn to do sand and all of that. So that's great, versatile, and plenty of earth around places. So, and then you've got air, which you've got the ability to glide around. You got air blasts. You've got, astral projection thing that Jinora does. You've got the ability to move lots and lots of your element. I mean, we're talking, what was it? Jinora and Opal, when Kuvira was attacking, they were able to hold back the entire army for a little bit at least, with just the 2 of them. So you can move a lot of your element in a very powerful way. So we've got a lot of power there also. Taking the air out of somebody's lungs. That's pretty powerful. That's a pretty effective move if you ask me. So there's that. And then you have fire. We've got, the fire blasts. Great. We've got, fire whips. That's nice. But I'm just thinking what really gets me is that each of the other elements, they have these sub-bending specialties. And each of them are extremely effective. Each of them have something great to add to the situation for that particular bender. But when it comes to firebenders, yes, there are sub-bending styles like lightning and then the eye on the forehead thing. But one thing to keep in mind, and one thing I've noticed with that, is that both of those 2 have hard counters. Unlike the other bending substyles for the other elements, the lightning and the combustion bending, that's what it's called, they have hard counters. So lightning bending, you can learn to redirect it. And then once you can learn to redirect it, I mean, unless you're really caught lacking, it becomes a fairly non-issue. You just redirect it. And then combustion bending, I mean, you can just hit. Does anyone else notice that the combustion benders are always getting hit in the head? Like everyone always manages to hit them right in the eye somehow. And, or like trap their head. And, with Pali, the situation, I mean, we don't have to go into that. I think we all know what happened, but Yeah, the situation with Pali, where her head got trapped when she was trying to do her combustion bending, and there she went. So I'm just thinking, I just feel like, and then also, if you watch back through Avatar, Last Airbender, and even Korra, everybody's always dodging the fire blasts. No one seems to be affected by the fire blasts. I'm noticing the firebenders are firing the blast here, there, everywhere. Everyone's just jumping out of the way. No one seems to be hit by the fire blasts. Like, it's just, and like the heat generated from the fire blasts, people don't seem to really be affected by that as much. It just doesn't seem to really land that much. But then on the flip side, you have Amon, you have Yakone, who not only can bloodbend, but can bloodbend without the moon. And then they can bloodbend without hand signs and hand movements, and they can just do it psychically. And it's just like, we don't even need to go into how OP that is. Like, there's literally no stopping someone like Yakone or Amon, I mean, aside from the Avatar themselves. But absent of the Avatar, like, these people are, like, literally unstoppable. Oh, and before I forget, let's also talk about one of the most OP moves that someone can do with their bloodbending. So not only with bloodbending can they literally, like, control anybody, and we've seen waterbenders control the plants and the vegetation. So, I mean, that's a big plus in and of itself. And then, of course, bloodbending, and then you can literally control another person. But as we saw with Amon, you can actually take it a step further. You can use your bloodbending, as a waterbender, you can use your bloodbending to take somebody else's bending away. Not only can you control them like a puppet and do whatever you want, but you can use it to take their bending away if you so choose. Something previously thought to be an Avatar thing only. Nope, if you're a waterbender, and if you train hard enough, you too can do it. You can take somebody's bending if that's what you want to do, if you really train your bloodbending skills. And I have a theory on the bloodbending. I think it's in the category of metal bending. No one really knew about it. Just like for metal bending, Toph discovered it. No one really knew about it. Thought it was impossible before. And then Toph taught a bunch of people. By the time Avatar Korra's story came around, a bunch of people were metal bending who had learned from Toph, or people who had learned from Toph taught them, and so on and so forth. So personally, my thought is that bloodbending is in the same category. I think that if you're a waterbender and if you try hard enough, if you're determined enough and you put enough work in, you can do it too. That's my thought. But then with earthbenders, when it comes to lava bending, we're seeing people like Ghazan and Bolin, who just themselves are able to deal out devastation with that lava. They're able to it's just, when they go up against other benders, there's like no answer. So we've got overpowered stuff like that. And so I'm seeing all of this and I'm thinking to myself, you know what? I really want to see a firebender, or firebenders, plural, take it to the next level. I want to see something like crazy from a firebender. Somebody to use firebending in just like an awesome way, just like Yakone and Amon used bloodbending, just like Ghazan and Bolin used lava bending, and it was just devastating. I want to see a firebender take things to the next level, like really take it to the next level in a believable way. Because, I mean, let's be honest, with everything we've seen waterbenders be capable of doing, when you have the story of, okay, well, the firebenders came and they got rid of all the waterbenders in the South Pole, I'm sitting there like, with everything that waterbenders are capable of, I have the hardest time believing that firebenders conquered anything, to be honest. And obviously this is a rant. I feel like fire needs that upgrade. Like, when we're told that the Fire Nation attacked and took over, got rid of the air nomads, took over the Earth Kingdom, and wiped out the Southern Water Tribe, and then they were able to get rid of all of the waterbenders in the Southern Water Tribe and all of that, I want to be able to believe that. I want to be able to believe that based off of what firebending is capable of. And right now, like with what we've seen, there is no way the Fire Nation could have done all that. The Earth and Waterbenders would have been too much. It would have been too much for Firebenders. Not to mention all the other bending styles already have their element there. They just have to bend it. the firebenders have to create and ignite their own element and then do it. So that's another hurdle we got to work on. It's just, I need an upgrade for these firebenders. That's what I want to see. Now that I've heard that Nickelodeon has a new Avatar studio thing going on, I think it's the perfect time to give firebenders the upgrade that they need. So here are the suggestions I have to fix the situation. We're gonna get more animated series. We're gonna get more Avatar content. So I think most people can agree, well, I may be projecting a little bit. But I feel like in order for things to be balanced, which as I said before is the goal for the Avatar universe, we want balance, then I think it's time that firebenders got some more abilities and got something that's OP, so it can match up with the rest of the elements with kind of a super powered technique that can level the playing fields a little bit. Because right now I feel like is not. So as I said before, firebenders are the only ones that have to create their own element. They have to draw upon their own life energy to ignite flame and then control it. So technically, I mean, if you want to think about it like this, they're manipulating their own life force to create heat and then control it. So my thought is the fact that they are manipulating their own life force to create heat and fire and flame and control it, I feel like that's just begging to be expanded upon. I'm thinking of that situation where Roku and Sozin were battling the volcano, you know, when it was coming close to Roku's end. And in the scene, you could see Sozin using his firebending to actually draw the heat out of the lava. It wasn't just producing heat, but he was taking the heat out of the lava and turning it back into rock. I feel like people like gloss by that, but it's like, wait a minute now. So that means, and we have proof in the show, that means that firebenders can not only add heat and ignite flame, but it's been shown that they can remove heat from a substance as well. Because we saw Sozin using firebending to take the heat from lava and turn it back into stone. So I'm thinking if they can draw heat and energy out of inanimate objects, why can't they draw heat and energy out of, you know, living objects? See what I'm saying? I mean, there's a precedent that's already been set. We've seen that it can be done. We've seen a firebender be able to draw the heat out of something, out of earth, which is not their element. So it's not just working with their element. They were able to draw the heat out of earth. Why can't they, you know, siphon people's energies or do something with it? I don't know. I'm not the writer, but I mean, I feel like that ability should absolutely be expanded upon. The fact that they can draw heat, draw energy out of something. It's not just that they can ignite flame. So that's one. That's number one. Somebody should expand upon that ability. And while we're at it, we should also talk about how, in my opinion, firebending is just a very primitive, lower version of energy bending. Because let's be honest, they are taking their life force, their energy, and creating heat and flame with it, and then doing something with that. It's even said that firebending is energy and life. So let's do something with that. I mean, what if it was found out that firebending is a lower level of energy bending, and, you know, with a lot of practice and a lot of determination, and probably some skill and talent too. Let's add that in there. We can't have everybody be exceptional now. But like I was saying, what if it's discovered that firebending, the next step in firebending is energy bending, and that's that OP thing that firebenders can do. I mean, it makes sense. It said firebending is energy, fire is energy and life. It's all about the breath, it's all about the life force, and they're creating their own element. I think it's just a lower level of energy bending, and I think somebody should do something with that. I think it should be found out that firebenders have the potential to become energy benders, and then we can really explore what it is to be an energy bender. Because I feel like we got a little bit of it with Aang, but we didn't get a lot. There's a lot that it could be. There's a lot of abilities that could come with it, and I feel like we only scratched the surface. So I think this could be an opportunity to dig a little deeper with that. And the last thing I can think of is flight. We've seen firebenders do a lot of flying around during the comet, but I feel like waiting every couple hundred years to be able to see firebenders like fly around, that's too long. In the time since Aang, since Korra, whenever these, I don't know what Nickelodeon has planned with these Avatar studios and what time period it's going to set in. I'm not sure. I'm hoping that we get something post Korra so we can see something new and finally see earthbending Avatar. Other than Kyoshi, which if you haven't read the novels, you should read the novels definitely. But maybe in the time since, firebenders have learned and perfected and harnessed that ability to use jet propulsion and maybe add a little bit more finesse to it, so it's something that they can use more often, and they're more nimble in the air, and things have progressed. And so I would like to see that. I would like to see more firebending jet propulsion and firebending used for flight as well, because I feel like that can be expanded upon too. So those are my ideas for what we can do to get things going for the firebenders, get things back on track, get things on even ground, because I feel like I haven't seen from a firebender the type of wow moments and just, oh my gosh, I can't believe they've done that, like the moments that I've seen with water, air, and earth. Moments that just make your jaw drop and it's like, oh wow, I didn't know they could do that. I did not know they could do that. That is powerful. That is OP. I mean, we had those moments with lightning, we had those moments with combustion bending, but then it just got turned around and, oh, well, this can be redirected, and oh, this one, if you hit them in the head, then it'll just stop working, or, if their head gets, if the eye thing on their head gets disrupted, well then, or if you trap them in an enclosed area, then they're gonna blow themselves up. It's just so many weaknesses, so many weak spots. The other bending disciplines have sub-skills that don't have major weaknesses to them. The other bending abilities have these other subset skills that are super helpful, and they're extremely effective in whatever it is that they're doing. It's just, I feel like fire needs it. So that is all I have to say. I think that if you have any ideas of what fire could be upgraded to, or any special abilities you think that should be added with whatever new material that we're going to be getting sometime in the future from the Nickelodeon Avatar Studios, just let me know down below. Let me know what you think, because I think we need to see something. We need to see something with the firebenders. So that is all. That is my rant. I'm done. I'm done ranting. I've held this in for so long. I've been thinking about this forever. I'm like, I gotta say something about this. I gotta say something. And really, I mean, I'm a Sagittarius, a fire sign, so I couldn't just stay quiet. I had to step up and demand some justice for my people. Because, I mean, I'm a fire sign. If I was in the Avatar universe, I'd be a firebender, and I need some upgrades so I can feel proud about that. So anyways, I'm done. See you later. Bye.
Thanks for watching. I'm glad you stayed. Thank you so much. The video's done, and that's all I have to say. Yeah.